Hi everyone, I'm Alexander Fernandez, CEO of Streamline Media Group. I've been working in the video games industry for 20 years, having started Streamline back in 2001 with 4 friends inside of a bedroom in Amsterdam. When we first started the company, we had no idea if we were going to make it or not, but we had a dream and a passion to make games. And more importantly, what we realized was our diverse backgrounds from South Africa, Germany, the United States, me being Hispanic, that would actually give us an opportunity to bring together a world in which we knew we wanted to be a part of. One that was inclusive, one that was diverse, and one that was filled with many stories. Well, over the course of the past 20 years, we've worked on over 400 titles, some of the most beloved franchises from Gears of War to Unreal Tournament to Street Fighter V and Final Fantasy 15, all the while proving to ourselves that we had a voice, that we could actually say something and build something that would mean a lot to so many people. I'm proud to say that after 20 years, we have over 200 employees. We have 45 languages and 25 different nationalities, all housed out of our production center located in Kuala Lumpur, where we went to over 10 years ago with the hope and dream that we'd be able to establish what effectively would become one of the largest video game developers in Southeast Asia. The road hasn't been easy, and it's a journey that I'm sure each and every one of you know, because it's filled with hardship, it's filled with doubt, it's filled with things that you can't even begin to imagine when you're just trying to make it work on your own. I'm here to tell you that the journey that you're on, the hardship you're enduring, the suffering you go through, that's a part of the actual process of becoming a game developer. And honestly, that's the process of actually being an entrepreneur. It's something that basically no one ever really talks about, and if they do, they kind of tend to gloss it over. But the reality is that it's very hard to run a business, let alone a video games business. And I want to talk to you today about the opportunities that are in front of us, not only because of the fact that the video games industry has meant so much to so many people over the past 30 years, but because governments around the world, people around the world, businesses around the world have begun to wake up to the possibility and to the realization that the heart of our digital transformation of industry runs straight through the video games industry, and that effectively is what we call the metaverse. So today we're hearing a lot about this word metaverse. Facebook just rebranded itself to Meta. You have Microsoft with HoloLens. You have Apple supposedly coming out with some type of glass set. Everyone is racing towards this new understanding. Well, what is the metaverse? The metaverse is nothing more than basically your physical and digital persona becoming a unified reality. And what that basically means is that everything that is physical has a digital twin, and effectively what happens in the digital world affects the physical world and vice versa. Now, if you're out there wondering like, metaverse, come on, this is crazy, future fantastic, I want to tell you already live in the metaverse. If you use GPS, if you've ever used that to basically find the directions, congratulations, you're using metaverse technology. The reality is that basically digital information, the data that we produce, is informing every aspect of life. What the metaverse effectively does is provides an immersive interactive experience that provides utility and application of even entertainment towards that data that we're producing. Now, it just so happens 30 years ago, we had this amazing, crazy, fantastic concept called the Intranet, a series of computers connected through TCP/IP using servers. Now, at that moment in time, we were dreaming of the idea of a metaverse. It's very funny, for those of you that are old enough to remember this, there was a thing called VRML, which was rudimentary 3D shapes. Thank goodness that didn't take over because it was pretty crap graphics. But now, with the advent of basically game technology, high-speed internet, 5G, we're now starting to realize the promise of what we thought the metaverse could ultimately become, which is effectively nothing more than all of us traversing 3D space and effectively personifying ourselves through avatars, hanging out with our friends to entertain, to shop, to effectively educate and learn. If you think that this is kind of crazy, well, yeah, you're right. It does sound kind of crazy. Video games change the world, but yes, video games have changed the world. And this is what makes it exciting, because every aspect of every person around the world is effectively starting to enter into this realm. And what it means for people and for ourselves located in the global south and any other part of the world, emerging markets or otherwise, is a fair opportunity to enter and prosper in the creation of metaverse. Now, the thing is, the metaverse isn't going to be built by just the West. The metaverse is going to be built by the next 2 billion gamers, the next 2 billion creators that come out of Latin America, Southeast Asia, and Africa, that are coming out of basically places where ideas, culture, language, new ways of thinking are effectively going to become something that we want to see, we want to be entertained. If you're like, well, what are you talking about? Just think as simple as stuff like Squid Games, or the Korean films that are coming out, and television shows that are taking the world by storm. We want new storytellers. We want more technologists. We want more ideas. And we're not going to get them from the same group of people that have dominated one specific realm or specific media. This is also what's very fascinating about right now, is that ultimately the voices of the South, the voices of effectively emerging markets, are coming in stronger and louder than ever. And games companies, entertainment companies are looking all over the world to find fresh, young perspectives. That is not going to come from Utah. That's going to come from basically places like Guadalajara, Argentina, Colombia, Nicaragua, El Salvador. It's going to come from places where another way of life, another way of looking at things is absolutely key. And this is what gets me super excited right now. So why should you care? Why should you want to be a part of this new revolution? Well, the metaverse is about culture. It's not just culture in terms of language, it's culture in terms of art, the way we entertain ourselves, the way basically pop media comes together, the way basically art comes together. If you think about what's happening in the metaverse right now, specifically in the realm of NFTs, blockchain, we're starting to realize that this entire digitization of financial assets, the entire move away from central banks to basically financial assets that are utilized by Gen Z, millennials, and zennials, those are becoming the norm. This disruption that's happened in the financial space is now finding itself leading its way into the creative arena, where rights management, smart contracts, the ability for artists to finally get paid for their creations, not one time, but multiple times, the ability to track royalty structures is fundamentally altering the way builders and creators are rewarded for their innovations and their hard work. This by itself is groundbreaking, especially in in the video games industry, which historically has basically provided, we could say, questionable practices for labor, and more importantly, not remunerated people for the work that they do. The beautiful thing about the Global South is that you are all getting this opportunity to enter into this space, and more importantly, being able to leverage this technology advancements that are there to make sure that you get your fair share of equity that is coming from the growth of our games industry. And of course, through the mediums that are basically leveraging the games technology. Now, why that also matters is because in the end of the day, it allows you to tell your stories, to find your voice, to take and place your unique stamp on the shape of humanity and where it's deciding to go. And I know that sounds pretty bold. That sounds kind of like, well, what do you mean humanity? But I want you to understand something. Over the past 30 years of the video games industry, we've gone from basically a relative $30 billion industry to over $200 billion. We have touched the lives of so many people. But yet at the same time, there are heroes that come from different parts of the world that I've never heard of and you may have never heard of, but that could absolutely resonate with the rest of the world. This is why you want to get involved, because you want to help shape and entertain people of the future. But more importantly, you want to develop the technologies and the ways of interactions that are going to lead to mutual prosperity, and if not greater prosperity for those that create them. The time really is now. It's time to join. It's time to get involved. It's time to basically realize that, yes, you may feel that you don't have a network. You may feel like you don't know where to start. But I'll tell you, there are places to find this information, as simple as basically going to video game developer conferences or effectively getting online and seeing people talk about attending conferences like this. More importantly, it's reaching out and joining up together to find new opportunities. And there's something that I would say, as someone who's been in this industry for 20 years and started from effectively nothing, I remember what it was like to struggle to try to find people to talk to. But I want you to know you're not by yourself. There are a tremendous amount of resources out there, from the Global Games Jam to things like the IGDA, who are looking to help develop and cultivate your capability. Now, the thing is that one thing is to get help from the outside world. The other thing is to help yourself. And let's talk a little bit about what this means. You can be the most brilliant programmer and artist out there, but if you're not able to communicate, you're not going to get very far. I want you all to sit back and think about the soft skills, your capability to have empathy, to develop leadership and cultivate management capabilities in yourselves. It's not enough to have the technical skills, or what I like to call the hard skills. It's more important to have the soft skills that allow you to sit down and actually connect with other people. That ability to connect, that ability to network, that ability to convince is the most important thing you can do, aside from the hard skills that you possess. Now, I know that it's something that we don't want to think about all the time, but if you're going to enter this realm, if you're going to enter business development, and in this case, enter the video games industry, you're going to need to know how to do biz dev. You're going to need to know how to basically build those relationships, and more importantly, how to ask for help. So this is one of the things that I'm going to tell you all to take a look at. So how do you get into the metaverse? Well, first you think about being a storyteller. You think about being an engineer. You think about being an artist. You think about game design. You think about immersive experiences. You think about basically finance and economics. But more importantly, what you think about is, how do you build a relationship and how do you build a network? The reality is that the hard skills are great, but the soft skills are better. And what I mean by that is this. Businesses that are built today are basically relying upon their ability to have a network and have a group of people that support the individuals working there. I want you to know that basically, as a person who's been working in the games industry for more than 20 years, I have seen my plenty fair share of super talented people come up and come down. The thing that separated one from the rest wasn't just about luck, but it was about their ability to have resilience, their ability to basically handle a volatile situation, handle uncertainty, handle complexity, and of course, operate in ambiguity. More importantly, what it came down to is that they understood relating and speaking to people were the most important things. For all of us in the global south, for all of us that come from different backgrounds, understanding how to communicate is absolutely key. Not only communicating with our own society, but communicating with people that have nothing to do with us and look nothing like us. That ability to overcome those diverse issues, to overcome diversity, overcome basically adversity, I should say, that is really the big thing that I think everyone should understand here. The metaverse, for all its intents purposes, will be fantastic because in the end, it's all about avatars. But as it's being built, we will definitely be working with people from different backgrounds. So I urge you to cultivate your multicultural skills, your interpersonal skills. Find ways to learn how to basically work and compel people to work with you. Those will be the keys of success, and those will be the keys of success in the metaverse itself. So in conclusion, the opportunities are tremendous, but they all come down to your perseverance and your desire to be a part of this industry. It's one thing to basically talk about it. It's another thing to do it. And I'm going to guarantee one thing. It'll be hard. It's not going to be easy. But that's okay because it's not supposed to be easy. But I want you to always look down inside and remember one thing. The reason why you're coming into this industry to begin with. It's not just because of passion. It's because you believe that you can leave a mark on it. Because you believe that you can make a difference. And I think that in the end of the day, as you move forward in your career, as you move forward in your businesses, you'll begin to realize that the true power of this industry is the ability to create opportunities, not just for yourself, but for everyone involved. Don't forget that the social economic impact our industry has is quite tremendous. Getting a job in video games can literally transform generations, primarily because of the fact of not only the economy that comes with it, but also the benefit to expand the mind and understand people from all over the world. I wish you all the best in your journey and hope that you succeed. And more importantly, I know that if you keep pushing forward, you too can make it. Of course, if you have any other questions, please feel free to shout out. I'm at StarveUp on Twitter. You can also follow Video Games Real Talk, where we talk about the business of video games. StreamlineMediaGroup.com. That's where our website is for all things related to Streamline. And of course, if you have anything else, please feel free to send me a message. Again, on Twitter, at StarveUp. And I look forward to running into you at a conference. All the best, and we'll speak soon.